What's up, you guys? So today we're going to be teaching how to do a whiteboard brief. The way this video is going to go is I'm going to do a whiteboard brief for the workout of the day at CrossFit Charlotte, which is Sentinel's conditioning workout tomorrow on Thursday. Then I'm going to talk about why I did what I did and give Bryson some pointers, and then I'm going to film Bryson doing the whiteboard brief for the 7 p.m. class. So we got a tight timeline here. It's 6:31. So I'm going to start with the whiteboard brief. All right, and I'm going to pretend like you guys and Bryson are my athletes. So what's up, you guys? Today is Wednesday, and hope you guys are here. Happy to work out, get some good intensity. Let's zoom out a little bit. We're going to start with talking about Monday and Tuesday a little bit and why today looks like today. So Monday, we had a classic CrossFit workout. It was a triplet of rowing, wall ball shots, medicine ball cleans, and rope climbs. Yesterday, we had a really high skill level AMRAP with some lunging and handstand walks. Athletes who couldn't handstand walk were working inverted skills. And today, we've got a really long workout working on 2 monostructural elements. So Monday, classic CrossFit MWG, 15 to 20 minute time domain. Yesterday, high skill inverted gymnastics was the main focus, and we only worked out for 10 minutes. Today we're going long. Total time on the clock today when we're finished with the workout is going to be 37 minutes. So we're going to start with some misconceived notions or misrepresentations of quote unquote a cardio day in CrossFit. I think a lot of time when you guys see a machine-based workout, people think active recovery or easy day. And in CrossFit, we teach that intensity drives results. So the less intensity you give, the less results. The more intensity you give, the more results. So theoretically, every day we need high relative intensity, and today that is definitely the theme. The theme is high intensity. That's just going to be coming in the form of rowing and biking. We're going to talk about why we're going long and giving high intensity here as well. So today the workout is an interval workout. We're going to be working for 5 minutes, resting for 3 minutes for 5 total sets. Why we do interval workouts? Let's take yesterday, for example. Yesterday we had a 10-minute AMRAP. Let's say yesterday on that 10-minute AMRAP, you were working out for 10 minutes and you were able to give a 90% effort across that 10-minute window. Now let's take today's total working time. Let's say it was 37 total minutes, no rest in between. So 37 minutes, straight. The relative intensity that you were able to give across that 37-minute window is a whole heck of a lot lower than would be for 10 minutes. Likewise, when we've got prescribed rest, this allows the total working time to be at a much higher intensity. So theoretically, across 5 5-minute windows, that's 25 minutes, with 3 minutes rest in between, we're able to accumulate 25 minutes at a 90% intensity rather than working for 37 minutes with no rest at a 20 or 30% intensity, for example. Now, there's times where that's appropriate for sure, but in order to get great at the long time domain, and to keep that intensity high, intervals are a great way to train. And that's why we do them once every week, 10 days, so on and so forth. So today, the theme is interval training. We're gonna be working for 5 minutes, resting for 3 minutes. It's all gonna be cardio. And I want the intensity high. I also want the intensity repeatable. So your aim for the workout should be to give the maximum sustainable intensity across all 5 sets. That means how hard can you go, and then repeat it for round 2, and repeat that exact effort for 3, 4, and 5. In theory, that's great. In practice or in application, it's a lot harder to do. So I don't expect you guys to hold the same calories, but that's what I want your effort to be. For the stimulus of the calorie counts, or how the flow of the workout's gonna go, is 3, 2, 1, go. For 5 minutes, you're going to do an AMRAP of 21 calories on the bike for guys, 21 calories on the row, and then 15 calories for ladies on the bike, 15 calories on the row. So you finish 21 calories on the bike, you go to your row, 21 calories. You go back to the bike, back to the row, so on and so forth for 5 minutes. The goal here is to pick a calorie count that you can complete within 1 minute. So if I'm doing the workout, my goal is a minute on the bike, a minute on the row. 3rd minute on the bike, 4th minute on the row, 5th minute on the bike for that first interval. So RX is 18 calories for guys, 12 for ladies. Scaling beyond that is 12 or 9 or anywhere in the middle. And a third option or a fourth option for you guys is if you struggle with the bike but are great on the rower, you can row that 21 and 15 calories and maybe take the bike down to the RX volume as well. But the most important thing is that each calorie count is taking you about a minute plus or minus some seconds. Another thing to note is that we're going to alternate each round between starting on the bike and starting on the row. So rounds 1, 3, and 5, you'll start on the bike. Rounds 2 and 4, you'll start on the row. Any questions so far? Awesome. High intensity day, focusing on cardio. We're going to work, then we're going to rest, and it's going to make you better at the long time domain. Scoring the workout is going to be total calories. I'm going to make it as simple as possible for you guys so you don't have to do any math during class. When you finish an interval, let's say you did one round of 21 and 21 and you got back to the bike and you got 10 calories. Your score for that interval is going to be 1 plus 10. Let's say on the next round you got 2 rounds and 15 calories. So you did bike row, and then 15 calories on the bike. Your score for that interval is going to be 2 plus 15. At the end of the workout, when you've caught your breath, you're not full of lactic acid and the blood's flowing everywhere, you can do the math on one round as a guy is 42 calories. So this score would be 52, and 2 rounds for a guy would be 84 calories, plus 10 would be 94, plus 5 would be 95. So that would be your score for that round. Add all 5 numbers up and that's your score. Any questions? Awesome. All right, we're gonna head back to the bikes. Everybody's gonna get a rower and a bike. We're gonna start the warm-up. So, just finished the whiteboard brief. I'm going to talk about a couple things. I'm going to start on this side of the board. So you'll notice that I didn't write the warm-up or the cool-down on the board. In class, we have those on the board so that coaches can come in, see the warm-up, and know it. I do not like to ever really talk about the warm-up or the cool-down. I like to spend the entire whiteboard brief talking about the workout, and then when we're ready to warm up, I have that memorized, and I lead them through the warm-up as we go. Same thing on the cool-down. That saves a little bit of time at the whiteboard, and it allows athletes to focus on what's important, and that's the workout. I don't want anyone thinking about the warm-up. I don't want them thinking about the cool-down. Only thing I want them focused on is the workout. Let's go to the back side of the board, and I'll talk about kind of my hierarchy of importance when doing a whiteboard brief. So what I like to start with is a fun intro or just a smile. Hey, how are you guys doing? That really sets the presence and attitude of the class. People come in here and they want to have the best hour of their day. They want to have fun. It's your job as a coach to kind of set the tone for that. Or it's my job as a coach to set the tone for that. I know these members super well, so I can goof around, make them laugh. That's typically what I lead with. After that, I talk about the theme of the workout, whether it's the theme of the day, zooming out. Today we're working on high intensities for the long time domain. Relative to a short time domain yesterday in high skills and a classic CrossFit workout on Monday that was a triplet. I like to give members the opportunity to understand why. I think if you can teach them why they're doing something, you get a lot more buy-in and they're learning a lot more. And that's the goal. The goal here is not only to coach, but to teach, to educate, to get people understanding why they're doing what they're doing so that they can give a bigger and more consistent effort. So that's really important to me, the theme of the workout. Once you've got the theme of the workout splayed out, everybody understands it, for the most part, you can get into the intent and stimulus. So how are you going to execute the workout to get the results that you want? How are you going to perform the workout to the purpose for why it was written? So the workout was written for you to be spending about a minute on each machine so that as fatigue accumulates on the bike, well, you're only there for a minute, you can move to the rower and you can give that intensity on the rower. When you're tired of the rower, you've only been there for a minute, you get to switch back to the bike, etc. So teaching that intent and stimulus and then scaling and modifications, giving athletes adjustments on how they can meet the intent and stimulus. From there, everybody's kind of got a relatively good understanding of what they're doing for the workout. We can break to the warm-up. I have that in my head, and as a coach, you should too. And then you can lead them through the warm-up, take them through it step by step. For today, I'll give you an example of my warm-up was basically an 8-minute cardio warm-up. And then we rested a few minutes and we started. So the workout's long. It's 37 minutes total on the clock. Whiteboard brief is going to take maybe 8 minutes. Let's say today's workout 4 to 8, depending on how many questions there are. So we'll go on the 8 end. So 8 plus 37, that's 45 minutes. So you've really only got time for like a 10-minute warm-up or less, and then maybe an 8-minute warm-up, couple-minute transition, and then they'll have a few minutes for a cool down. So the warm-up I did was 8 minutes. I had them row, bike, row, bike, row, bike, row, bike. And I'm not going to write it out all the way, but They rode for a minute, then they transitioned immediately to the bike for a minute, nice and easy. Then they rested 20 seconds. At the 20-second mark, they rode for 40 seconds a little faster, and then they rested 20 seconds, and they biked for 20 seconds or 40 seconds faster. And they rested for 30 seconds, essentially like an EMOM with gradually decreasing time domains but increasing the intensity so they could prime their body, get ready to go. And by the time they're done with that, you've warmed up for 8 minutes. People have gotten sweaty. They're out of breath. They're ready to go. Let them rest 2 to 3 minutes, take a leak, get chalk, whatever. Time to hit the workout. So we've just done the whiteboard brief, talked about the why and the how. Me and Bryson have had a discussion on what he's going to focus on for the whiteboard briefing class. Now I'm going to film him, and this is going to serve as a bit of coaching development for Bryson, but also saying here's how or why I like to do something and why I prefer that. We'll see how Bryson does in efforts to develop him as a trainer, get him ready for his level 3, etc. So see you guys in the comments. Like and subscribe.
All right, guys, let's bring it in. You guys are going to be watching a fake whiteboard brief today since Taylor forgot to hit record on the camera. All good, though. We'll take it easy on him because I know a guy who might have done that once or twice. Not going to say who, but I just know a guy, all right? Anyways, talking about our workout. So far this week, we started off with a classic CrossFit triplet. It was in the 11 to 17 minute time domain, or at least it was supposed to be. Some of us, it was taking a little bit longer than that, especially because the heat is starting to really kick up here in Charlotte. On Tuesday, we did a 10-minute AMRAP. So the lunges and the handstand walk, higher skill, not as metabolically intense, but it was pressing the boundaries of what we are comfortable doing skill-wise in a workout. So some of us were practicing handstand walks, even practicing handstand holds, things like that. Stuff that we're maybe not as comfortable with doing under a high heart rate, breathing really hard, things like that. So today our theme is going to be getting a lot of intensity across a longer time domain. So 25 minutes of work, because we're doing 5 minutes on, 3 minutes of rest for 5 sets. We're going to be going back and forth between the bike and the rower. The reason we have that rest in between is to keep the intensity of the 5-minute working periods a little bit higher. And what that's going to do is at the end of the day, we'll have done 25 minutes of work at a much higher intensity than we could have done it if it was just a 25-minute AMRAP with no breaks in between. So although this will take 37 minutes in total on the clock, 25 minutes of work that you're doing is going to be a lot harder than if there was no breaks here. So what we're going to do is a 21 calorie bike, 21 calorie row for guys, 15 and 15 for ladies, or we can bring that down a little bit if we need to. Rest 3 minutes, and then another 5-minute AMRAP. The only thing that's going to change between the AMRAPs there is what we're starting on. So if we start on the bike in the first one, you'll start on the row in the second one, and you're just going to be switching back and forth on each 5-minute window, 3-minute rest in between. You'll end up doubling up starting on the bike since we only have 5 sets today. The stimulus for the calorie count is something that you can get done in under a minute. Doesn't mean that if it takes you a minute and 2 seconds, I'm going to come over and start screaming at you. Especially, you know, it's a lot easier to say on paper, oh, I can do 21 calories in a minute, but we get into the 4th round and it starts to take a little bit longer than that. That's okay, and it's also realistic. But the goal here is to keep an intensity that you can maintain across all 5 sets. So whether that's keeping the same calorie count or not letting it fall off too much, or maybe even increasing a couple calories each round. So we want to pick a calorie count that allows us to do that. RX is going to be 18 for guys, 12 for ladies, scaled 12 and 9, or if maybe we're somewhere in between, we can do maybe 15 and 10, whatever. We can go even lower than this if we need to as well. Another thing is the Echo Bike is a pretty tough machine. It's not like the Concept 2 machines. So if the Echo Bike specifically is tough for you and you know that a 15 calorie row would be done way too quick, but a 15 calorie Echo Bike might take you a minute, then that's something that we can do as well. So 18 calorie row, maybe 15 calorie Echo Bike, and still keep that AMRAP throughout. But other than that, we're looking pretty good, so if you guys have any questions, ask them now. And if anyone's too afraid to ask any questions now, then find me before we start. For our warm-up, we're just gonna go back and forth between the machines, get some intensity going, get the heart rate up, prime your body for this high intensity. Remember, we have 25 minutes of this, so it's gonna be a lot of work, a lot of sweating. We need to get ready for that, and then we'll get started with our workout. Side note, Taylor wanted me to time the first whiteboard brief. The real one I did for the 7 p.m. class was 4:04, and that one was 4:05. So even though that was fake, you guys still got a pretty realistic idea of what that looked like for the class.
All right, you guys, that was Bryson's whiteboard brief. We're shooting this before he actually does it, so TBD on whether his is better than mine. But if you want to come to CrossFit Charlotte, try a free class, check us out, get yoked. See you guys here. 9535 Suite 100, Monroe Road, Charlotte, North Carolina. All day, every day.